What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is every state in the US. Now, I'm pretty sure this video goes into every state with a few facts and details about every single one.
Okay.
So you can learn a little bit in snippets from each state from this video. It's a pretty good one. I really enjoyed it when I did react to it again. I'm pretty sure it was about a year ago. So I remember the odd one about the mailing system in, I can't remember what state it is, but as soon as it comes up, it'll be there, and I will point it out. But I don't want to give you any spoilers. So we're going to get straight into it. But before that, we're streaming tonight, aren't we? It was the 4th of December today. So if you're watching it after the 4th, we're not streaming tonight. I do apologise. But we will be streaming on the 4th of December, which is in a few hours from now, isn't it? At 6 EST, 11 GMT. And I'm not sure what the other time zones are. I don't know if you know. But if you're like in California and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure it's a couple hours earlier than that. So, but if you're in America and California, I'm pretty sure you guys all know EST. I think.
Yeah, I think they're like 8 hours behind us. So.
Well, EST is 5 hours behind Eastern
Yeah.
Standard Time. Now, I'm just not sure about Western.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably like a couple hours after that.
I should know it. Yeah, but EST, when I think of America again, let me know in the comments if I should do this or not. I always just think EST. That's the one I normally go off. I know it's 5 hours behind. And I just assume you guys can do the translation to wherever you are. Let us know if we should start doing the other ones as well. As a more... I don't know. Yeah, maybe we should do that. Let us know in the comments. Smash that like button as well. Hopefully we'll see you guys in the stream. We're going to do a few quizzes, do a bit of a Q&A, aren't we? And that is going to be a good time. So hopefully we'll see you there in a couple of hours. Now, on to the reaction. Every state in the US. What we got?
This is Every State in the US by Wendover Productions and made possible by the great Courses Plus. We'll start with Alabama, the first state alphabetically. Magnolia Springs, Alabama is the only town in America to have their mail delivered by boat. Although the longest mail delivery route in America is in rural Oklahoma, where delivery drivers have to drive 187.6 miles each day to deliver the mail to around 200 houses. Oklahoma's state vegetable is the watermelon, which happens to be a fruit. And Oklahoma is also home to Kansas, the town. The real Kansas, or more specifically this point, is the geographic center of the contiguous United States. What Kansas is not home to is Kansas City, which counterintuitively is in Missouri, where the population center of the US is, the average location of every American. Missouri borders 8...
Yeah, but it's just super confusing because Kansas is a state, Kansas City,
like
and then another Kansas. Because I was completely wrong as well, because I think the American football team of Kansas City Chiefs isn't in Kansas. And for ages I thought it were, and I got so many comments like, really no, it's not in Kansas. Like, but I was like, why call it Kansas? But I guess there's a Kansas City and stuff like that, so it does make sense. But it is definitely confusing, isn't it?
8 states, and is therefore tied with Tennessee as the state that borders the most other states. Tennessee was a southern state that seceded from the United States and joined the Confederacy, except for Scott County, which seceded from Tennessee and formed the unrecognized independent state. Scott County didn't actually officially rejoin Tennessee until 1986. Tennessee's western border was originally defined by the course of the Mississippi River, which has since changed course, which has led to all these enclaves and exclaves of the two states on the two sides of the river. The Arkansas River, a major tributary of the Mississippi, begins all the way in Colorado, where nobody's entirely sure which mountain is the top.
Oh yeah. I can't remember what video I first called it Arkansas in.
It was ages ago, wasn't it? But it was so funny.
You were just laughing your head off because you was in the room as well, I think, when I was doing it. Like, I was over here, you were just chilling over in bed. Like, after you were like, what did you call Arkansas? Like, what? Yeah. I know it's Arkansas now, but I mean, if you've never heard this name before, right, and you know of Kansas State, surely you don't know that's Arkansas.
But why would there be like another Kansas state?
Well, there's a Kansas City in Missouri next to Kansas State.
Yeah, but there's not going to be two states named the same thing.
Well, no, that's why it's got to be R in front, I thought.
No.
What do you mean? No, it makes...
You're just digging yourself a hole.
It makes perfect sense.
Just say you pronounced it wrong.
I did. I completely butchered it. I did. But it does make perfect sense. In my opinion, let me know in the comments, guys.
Tallest, Mount Elbert or Mount Massive, since their heights are within 10 feet of each other, and people keep building piles of rocks on the summits to make one mountain taller than the other.
Wow.
Colorado is also home to America's longest continuous street, Colfax Avenue in Denver, at 26 miles long. But the shortest individually named street in America is reportedly McKinley Street in Bellefontaine, Ohio, at a mere 28 feet long. Ohio's northernmost point is actually north of Canada's southernmost point, Pelee Island. Pelee Island, Canada, in fact, is farther south than parts of 27 states, including California, which as a state has a higher population than the entire country of Canada. Los Angeles, California, despite being on the Pacific Ocean, is east of 6 state capitals, including Nevada's. Nevada has the point in the entire United States where you're farthest from a McDonald's, only 116 miles. Although Nevada...
You do love your McDonald's, don't you?
Can't be far away from McDonald's. That's whenever we go away, that's our one place to eat, isn't it, all the time?
It is, but I feel like in America you've got that many different fast foods and stuff like that. You'd be able to find an alternative.
Yeah, I need my McDonald's.
is not the state with the fewest McDonald's. That title goes to the state with 29 McDonald's, North Dakota, which according to some legal experts wasn't technically a state until 2012, since their constitution was missing this sentence, which meant it didn't fulfill the federal requirement for statehood. Despite having the fewest McDonald's, North Dakota is not America's least populated state. That's Wyoming, which has 2 sets of escalators in the entire state.
That's
Wyoming
mental.
is well known for hosting Yellowstone National
That looks
Park,
really good though.
although a bit of it spills over into Idaho. Though in this section, you can get away with murder. You see, with the 6th Amendment, if you're placed on trial, it's required that you are judged by a jury of your peers, which means individuals from the same state and federal district as where the crime was committed. Yellowstone is its own federal district, meaning you need residents from Yellowstone to be on the jury. Although if you were in the Idaho part, you need Yellowstone residents from Idaho to be on the jury. Except this 50 square mile section is entirely uninhabited, so they wouldn't be able to form a jury, which means you'd walk free. There's also one single road.
Pretty much. It's just explained to us.
You could kill anybody.
In that 50 square metre, which it's not a huge space. 50 square metre.
That's in Yellowstone?
No, that was a part of it. It's not the whole of Yellowstone, I'm pretty sure. At least I got it. Maybe it is. I don't think it's the whole of Yellowstone. Let us know in the comments. But in that area, it's pretty much explained how you could, in theory, get away with murder. I mean, you've got to lure someone there, you've got to get them in the exact bit, and then you've got to pull it off. And I'm sure...
I feel like if someone's telling you to go there, you just don't go there.
Well, would you have known about that before?
No.
So if someone said to you, "Oh, meet us here. There's this sick thing, right?"
I'd have gone.
And then you go, and then
And I'd have died.
And then yeah. I don't think it's that simple.
So
and again, it lets us know in today's age. I feel like something would happen. I don't know.
I feel like some manslaughter or something.
Maybe,
surely.
I don't know. But yeah, he's basically just explained to everyone how to get away with murder.
Road connecting the entire southern section of Idaho to the northern section. Idaho, with its fairly low population, has one single telephone area code for the whole state, just like neighboring Montana. Montana is home to the least busy commercial airport in the US, Dawson Community Airport, at 4,000 passengers per year, or about 11 per day. Missoula, Montana is also home to the warehouse of DFTBA, where you can buy one of these, a Wendover Productions t-shirts, for only $20. The link is in the description. The busiest airport in America is Atlanta's, at 49 million passengers per year, or 135,000
that's the busiest
per day.
airport in America.
You'd have just gone New York because you want...
Or Florida.
Or Florida, I guess.
Or California.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely not one of the biggest, but I guess a lot of people want to go to Atlanta, which it does make sense, a little bit, I guess. And I guess...
I mean, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised that I would have just assumed maybe the busier.
The ones with more people, potentially had more people going out of it or coming in. Yeah, that does make sense.
Peachtree, a suburb of Atlanta, is a community that has 90 miles of golf cart specific roads adjacent to its normal roads, since 9,000 families here have golf carts as their second cars.
Wow.
Kids are even encouraged to drive to school from the age of 12 in their golf carts. Georgia, or more specifically Springer Mountain, Georgia, is the start to the 2,200-mile-long Appalachian Trail, which is a hiking trail that terminates all the way up at Mount Katahdin, Maine. Maine is the only state in America to only border one other state, and it's also the closest state to Africa. Seriously, it's closer than Florida. The second closest state to Africa is Massachusetts, or more specifically Cape Cod, Massachusetts, which is technically an island, since a man-made canal separates it from the mainland. Massachusetts is actually farther from Miami than Panama City is, and Miami is closer to the country capitals of Nassau, Bahama, and Havana, Cuba than its own state capital, Tallahassee.
I mean, that just shows how big it is. It just shows how big when you've got kind of different areas. It's still in the same state.
Yeah, but it's so far away.
The two cities are further away than that. It is mental. And that is just a tiny bit of the US when you actually look at it. Mental.
Florida has the lowest highest point of any state, 312 feet, 23 times lower than South Dakota's highest point. South Dakota is home to the geographic center of the entire United States, if you include Alaska and Hawaii, and it was made a state a mere 9 days before Washington, which was called Columbia before it became a state. Its name was changed as to not confuse it with the District of Columbia, but obviously that didn't work out, since D.C. City ended up being called Washington. Washington Place is the official residence of Hawaii's governor, and Hawaii was given its own unique currency during World War II that was its only legal tender, so that, in case the Japanese successfully invaded Hawaii, the federal government could declare all of Hawaii's currency worthless to prevent the Japanese from using it.
Wow.
The closest state to Hawaii is Alaska, whose capital, Juneau, has no roads connecting it with the rest of Alaska or North America, meaning you can't drive in or out. Alaska is also one of the 4 states that completely bans outdoor billboards, along with Hawaii, Maine, and Vermont, whose tallest building is only 11 stories tall. That's the shortest, tallest building of any state. The tallest...
Yeah, even Jersey have that tall buildings and that, which again we're tiny, aren't we?
Yeah.
You got to think again. We're talking about Channel Islands Jersey because I feel like a lot of new people
think that
been on the channel recently,
in New Jersey,
and we just relax, like say, oh, like Jersey, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I get comments all the time like, no, New Jersey's not exactly like that. Oh, are you sure you live there?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it is Channel Islands Jersey, just off England. But I get it, and it's what is it? What are we? 12 by
9 by 5.
Are you sure we're not
Miles.
12? Are we only 9 by 5?
9 by 5.
9
yeah.
by 5 miles is how big the island is.
You could walk around the whole island in a day.
Yeah, they do that every year.
Do the island walk.
I think it takes about 16, 17 hours, doesn't it? Maybe I'm wrong on that. I'm not sure. I've never done it.
I think like people wake up.
I've never done it.
I think like you start at 3 a.m. and you tend to finish like 4 or 5 if you are decent.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how small Jersey is. A lot of people keep asking for tours, so let us know in the comments if you want to see some like little shorts or something of us visiting like the castles or anything like that, because there is a lot of castles here, isn't there? And there's a lot of German World War II bunkers as well. So if you wanted to see any of them, let us know in the comments. But we've got a few, definitely over 11 stories over here.
Yeah,
so,
definitely. I mean, some of our flats and things are like 20.
Yeah, definitely.
The tallest building in the States is Freedom Tower in New York. New York is home to Ellis Island, or at least part of it. Their territory is completely surrounded by New Jersey, similar to Liberty Island,
This
home
made
to the
me so
Statue of Liberty.
confused when we went and when they were telling us on the tour that like half of it's owned by New Jersey.
Yeah.
So if you step over like one bit of grass, you're in New Jersey.
A new state,
which I think was really cool.
Which is completely surrounded by New Jersey waters, which means you need to travel through New Jersey to get from New York to New York. Clinton Road in West Milford, New Jersey has America's longest red light, a full 5-minute wait. New Jersey actually goes surprisingly far south, farther south than Kentucky's northernmost point. In its southwest corner, Kentucky has a rather large piece of territory that's not actually connected to the rest of Kentucky. Kentucky was the birthplace of Lincoln, who was later elected to the Illinois House of Representatives, and in Illinois is the original Burger King. But it's not the Burger King you're thinking of. This Burger King existed before this Burger King, and therefore sued Burger King when they came to Illinois for trademark infringement and won. So now no Burger King is allowed to operate within a 20-mile radius of this original Burger King. Chicago, Illinois, America's 3rd largest city, is just a tad bit larger than the 4th largest city, Houston, Texas. And Texas is so enormous that El Paso, Texas is close.
Chicago's not a state.
No.
It's part of Illinois.
Yeah. It's
I
a
never
city.
knew that. I thought it was a state.
It's kind of like Manhattan isn't a state.
No.
It's part of New York State.
Right.
And New York City isn't technically a state. It's part of New York.
Yeah.
Yeah,
New York City is part of New York. Okay.
Yes, I am right in saying that, yeah. And Los Angeles isn't a state, it's in California.
I just thought Chicago was a state.
No, I can completely understand. I never knew until I started doing these reactions it was in Illinois. I'd have never done that connection.
I'd never have guessed that.
But I knew it wasn't a state, but yeah.
Closer to Los Angeles than it is to Houston, Texas. Texas's northernmost point is also closer to Michigan than it is to its southernmost point. From Detroit,
Shows how big it
Michigan,
is.
you actually end up in Canada if you travel due south. And Michigan is the only state to be made of 2 entirely separated sections. Michigan's Highway 185 is actually a bike path, making it the only official highway in America where cars are banned. Michigan's Upper Peninsula is also only connected by land to Wisconsin, which is home to the Green Bay Packers, a team so popular that the waiting list for season tickets is 30 years long. It's so long that it's common for parents to put their kid's name on the list as soon as they're born. In Watertown, Wisconsin is Utah Street, but the real Utah has the longest section of interstate in the US with no gas stations, 106 miles on I-70. I-70.
Yeah, you'd be screwed there, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You've got, like, imagine if you walked in that. Let's say if we were over there and we hopped on that road and we only had half a tank, we wouldn't know that there's not going to be a gas station about it. We'll just be driving.
What would you do? Like, waiting for the next gas to stop?
Yeah, we'll be getting a bit low, and I'll be like, oh, next service stations, we'll pull over, we'll fill up.
And just never be there.
And then the light comes on. Okay, we could really do with a service station right now. And then you just stopped in the middle of nowhere. You're like, wait, what? Like, that's meant you've got to know, you've kind of got to pre-plan your journey, I guess, for petrol as well.
It ends over 2,000 miles away in Baltimore, Maryland, and the entire state of Maryland has 0 natural lakes. It also has this panhandle that reaches a minimum width of 1.8 miles before expanding back out to 30 miles width out near West Virginia, which is definitively a southern state, but also has this panhandle that reaches as far north as New York City and Nebraska.
Wow.
Monowi, Nebraska is the only incorporated municipality in the United States that has a population of 1. The one resident, Elsie Eiler, is mayor and runs the library and tavern, which is granted a liquor license every year by Elsie herself. Tortilla Flat, Arizona is 6 times larger than Monowi since it has 6 residents, and Arizona also has 1/4 of the Four Corners Monument, the only point where 4 states meet in the US. Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico, which as a state, by law, still recognizes Pluto as a planet. New Mexico is typically the last state to vote in presidential primaries, whereas Iowa is usually the first. Iowa is the only state in the US whose eastern and western borders are both water, in this case rivers. The eastern border is the Mississippi River, which happens to be the namesake for Mississippi. The Mississippi River also flowed backwards for a full 24 hours in 2012 during Hurricane Isaac, but the Mississippi doesn't actually reach the ocean in Mississippi. It does so in Louisiana, home to the longest bridge over water in the world at 24 miles.
Wow.
That's so long that for
insane.
8 of those miles, you can't even see land on either side. One of the other longest bridges in the US is in North Carolina, the Virginia Dare Memorial Bridge, which carries cars out to Kitty Hawk, where the Wright brothers successfully flew a heavier-than-air aircraft for the first time in history. It was a 12-second, 120-foot flight. That's shorter than the wingspan of a Boeing 747. North Carolina's southern neighbor is South Carolina, although South Carolina isn't all that south, since more than half of it is north of North Carolina's southernmost point, and South Carolina also has a town called North, making it North South Carolina. South Carolina.
Yeah, you've also, it's not really South Carolina, but it's in the south. And we've had a couple examples in there, which has been like, I think it was Virginia, where it's kind of like, it's meant to be a southerly state. I would say it's a southerly state. You would. But if you actually look at the geography of it, some of it is more northern than New York, like we had previously and stuff like that. And it just shows how big these states are. That what you're saying is a southern state
is
actually like, creeps into the north a little bit, just on how big it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it probably has its southern principles throughout that because most of it is southern.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is. But if you actually look at the geography, it's just because it's so big, it kind of gets into both categories. It's mental.
It's crazy.
Carolina was the site of the first Civil War battle, and the Civil War ended up having a total of 1 battle over in Indiana, where the Indy 500 Speedway is, which is so enormous
really
that
cool.
you could comfortably fit the entire country of the Vatican inside it. It can also fit 400,000 people, which is the highest capacity of any sports arena in the world.
We should try.
Indiana's state beverage is water, while Oregon's is milk. Portland, Oregon is also home to the world's smallest park, according to the Guinness World Records book, Mill End Park. Oregon is also one of the few states to not...
I assume that is
the
park. That's what I'm assuming. You step on the park, you step off the park.
How's that classed as a park?
That's what I'm guessing. it's a very small park.
Into the Guinness World Records book, Mill End Park. Oregon is also one of the few states to not have a sales tax, along with New Hampshire, the only state to have no law requiring adults to wear seatbelts. Connecticut Lake, in New Hampshire, is the source of the Connecticut River, which is what Connecticut, the state, is named after. Hartford, Connecticut's airport, at less than 3 million passengers per year, is the smallest airport in the US to have a direct flight to Europe. Delaware, on the other hand, certainly doesn't have a direct flight to Europe, since it's the only state that you can't fly to. There's not one commercial flight in or out of this tiny state. It's the second smallest state behind Rhode Island, which is so small that the entire state grows by 3% during low tide. Rhode Island's second largest city, Warwick, shares its name with Warwick, Pennsylvania, and in Pennsylvania is Centralia, where the ground has been on fire since 1962 due to a coal mine fire, and it's expected to burn for over 200 years.
That's mental.
Pennsylvania borders Minnesota. Well, not really, but Pennsylvania Avenue does intersect Minnesota Avenue in DC, and Minnesota is home to the northernmost point in the lower 48. You see, most of the US-Canada border is defined by the 49th parallel, but a surveying error led to this. The couple hundred residents of this area, called the Northwest Angle, are completely cut off from the US and need to pass into Canada, then back into the United States to go to school. Also in northern Minnesota is Virginia, the town, but Virginia, the state, is massive. So massive that Ewing, Virginia is closer to 8 other state capitals than to its own state capital, Richmond.
Mental.
Alexandria, Virginia is actually closer to Toronto, Canada than it is to Ewing, Virginia. Virginia also happens to go farther west than West Virginia. Virginia is also home to this place, the headquarters of the teaching company who run the Great Courses Plus. And with that super smooth transition, I do have to thank the Great Courses Plus for sponsoring this video.
I think that is the end of the video. We're just going to go into the sponsor, so if you want to check that out, the links will be in the description for this channel. But there you go, like, a lot of information kind of thrown at you.
I wasn't expecting all that, to be honest.
Yeah, but there's a lot
of new stuff.
A lot of new stuff we've learned. Interesting things about a lot of different states.
Yeah.
Pretty eye-opener about how big it is as well.
Yeah, it does make you see, like, this is not like a 2-week trip.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's not just to visit one state pretty much. So it kind of gets that point across quite well. And then you learn a lot of niche little things.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was the other day I explained to you about Delaware not having an airport.
Yeah.
And then Atlanta being the busiest airports.
Yeah.
Again, let us know in the comments what you guys think the reason for that is. Because you do make a very good point. New York, obviously, highly populated. A lot of people go there as well from tourists.
Yeah.
California, highly populated. But maybe people in California aren't travelling as much. So they're not going to... I don't know.
Yeah, whereas maybe people... Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe everyone
really
in Atlanta...
I feel like everyone that, like, you know, that you see talking about going to America, it's, you know, one of the... It's one of the main ones,
You're talking about over here, though.
Yeah, true.
When you think the Americans travel...
Someone in some country somewhere is going to Atlanta all the time.
Yep, and I think the stat in the US is I think about 48% of Americans don't have passports. So
they can go around the US.
Yeah, they can go around the US without the passports. So they're getting on a lot of these flights. Their vacation is getting on a flight to another state. Yeah. So a lot of people obviously going to Atlanta themselves.
So they actually don't need a passport to fly from like California to New York?
I don't think so. If you were going to fly from London to Rotherham, well, Manchester, because Rotherham don't have an airport, you wouldn't need a passport. You just need a driving license. You need a form of ID.
Oh, you need a form of ID. You still need ID, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's not a passport though. Like,
it's that we can get to England on our
without a passport. It's the exact same because it's part of the UK Commonwealth travel. Whereas it's part of the US. Again, please clear this up in the comments.
I've seen it on a video before that when they've been travelling, they just use like an ID card.
So they do a lot of travelling inside the US. So let us know what the attraction, the main, obviously Atlanta's Atlanta. Yeah. A lot of people know about it. It is an attraction. But what is the main compared to the other states? I guess is the main question, isn't it? Let us know in the comments, guys. Really enjoyed this video. Yeah. Keen for quite a few more of these.
Yeah, they're really good actually.
They kind of just throw. I feel like it's one of them. We'll probably end up watching it a couple times in our own time.
It's a lot of information in one go.
Yeah, you need to watch it a couple times in our own time to sink everything in, and then when it does, we have them for the videos then. So really enjoy this one. Don't forget, in literally, what time is it now? This video will be going out. Well, this video will be going out in 2 hours. That'll be going out at 8. 3 hours time from when this video was uploaded, we will be live. So we appreciate if you guys check it out. It'll be on this channel. It'll be a laugh. If you don't enjoy it, you can obviously leave, but you might as well check it out and drop us a like. Smash the like on this button, this video, and have a fantastic day, guys. Peace.